Okay, everyone. So I'm going to share one of my tips and tricks for grading at a high level, but being really efficient on Google Classroom. There's a few different things you have to do to set up. So number one, I have my Google Classroom already set up in the scoring view. How you get there is that you start on your normal page, you sign in, Google Classroom, beautiful. Then you go to the assignment that was turned in. So here have all of my students who turned it in. Don't worry about the 19 students did it, but we're practicing how to press the button that says submit. So ignore for now. So you open up the student classwork and the view will come just like this. So this is amazing for a few different reasons. Number one, you have the live view of student work where I could even comment and give individualized feedback. This is just an effort grade, so I'm not looking at accuracy, although I am skimming ideas for tomorrow's lesson. You can also have the grade right here, and then I leave private comments that both get pushed to their email and are going to be present and connected to their work. Just in case a few of our students aren't as tech savvy as others, I also just copy and paste it straight in here, so that way if they go back to their work to revise, they're already set to go. All right, this student did beautiful work. She got 100. I'm going to look at a student work that I haven't yet evaluated before to just walk through what I would do in order to not only give her a grade, but give her specific feedback. In order to make it super efficient, I have on my right-hand side this window where I have comments aligned to general trends that I've identified in classwork. What this requires first is that I skimmed through probably about half of the classwork by just clicking this button here, reading through, scrolling through to establish, okay, what are most of the trends that I'm seeing? If you're a teacher, you know that 90% of feedback is sort of the same. And then there's 10% of kids who need like personalized, very specific or unique feedback. Maybe they did something or misunderstood something, so it's a little bit out of the norm. All right, how I set this up, our school, we grade if it's for effort on a 100%, a 70%, and a 0%. I created a comment box for each one just to keep everything super separate. But that way, as I was going through my different comments, I could copy and paste these into the work. So I'm going to look through the student's work. All right, see, generally baseline, beautiful, going through, awesome, nice, great. So she did everything she had to. This was our first lesson, so we're just looking for baseline effort. I'm going to go for my 100% comments, Control C, give her that 100 and leave this here for a post. Again, I know that she's tech savvy, but just in case, I'm going to leave this here so that way it's at the top of her classwork. The reason being that for students who received a 70 or 0%, I actually give them feedback on how they can resubmit. Let me zoom in. So that way, if they're like, hey, I got a 70, I actually want to redo it to get 100, I make sure to include those directions here. She got 100%, she doesn't need to redo anything, that's totally fine. So as I'm working, keeping both of these panes open, this allows me to be really fast, but students still get really specific feedback based on what they need. And it allows students to understand and feel seen in terms of their schoolwork because you are responding to trends that appear in their work, letting them know, hey, this is actually why you didn't get a 100% and what you can do to get 100% moving forward. Other than that, if you go back to your Google Classroom, and to that assignment, you see all the grades right here, all the way sorted. I'm not entirely finished, so it'll stop about halfway through my student population. What I can do in order to make sure that they all see it is I press return and I say return, so that way they get that email that allows them to know what their score is. For now, I'm not going to do that because I still have some grading ahead of me. But just in case, you want to know that skill. Additionally, if you are grading on like a 4-point assignment or that your metrics are different for your specific school, totally fine. You actually just adjust the points here. So I can make it 4, I can make it ungraded. We use 100 just for consistency's sake, class to class, assignment to assignment. But it's a really wonderful way in order to keep things super clear for students. Additionally, what I really like about this, like I said, that my students are learning the submit button. Most of these students did their work, but this is a learning moment to make sure, hey, when you want your work to be graded, make sure you press submit. If you've watched my previous video from yesterday for this specific assignment, I set the due date to be 9 p.m. What that means is that any single student who submitted after 9, I got an email saying that they submitted it tardy. You don't get an email for every student before that due date. What that looks like, please ignore all of my stuff, is that all of these students at 9:03, 9 o'clock, I have just records of students who had a little bit beyond 9. This is going to be a learning moment for my students, where next time it's going to be a 10% dock for every day that it's tardy, including after that 9 o'clock cutoff point. It's a great way to just keep super clear, super consistent expectations for students and how you want them to comply with your logistics for your class. Makes it easier for us as teachers. All right, take care. Have a good one.